What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to Dallas Cowboys Central, your home for all things blue and silver. The Cowboys are always striving to improve, fighting to turn potential into performance and challenges into championships. But as this season's roller coaster continues, there's a hot topic buzzing. Could the legendary Bill Belichick land in Dallas and revolutionize this team? Today, we're diving into the idea of Belichick wearing the star and which player could benefit the most from that monumental hire. Spoiler alert, Micah Parsons might be the one poised to become Belichick's next defensive masterpiece. Before we get into this fascinating breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you stay locked in with the latest Cowboys news. Alright, let's talk about what might be the most intriguing what-if scenario of the offseason. We all know the NFL coaching carousel hasn't started spinning in full yet, but the whispers are getting louder. The Chicago Bears, New York Jets, and New Orleans Saints have already made some changes, but the big wave of interviews and hirings is coming. And when it does, there's one name at the top of every team's wish list: Bill Belichick. The man, the myth, the hoodie. Recently, Belichick's name made waves when news broke that he had an interview for the head coaching job at the University of North Carolina. While that stirred the pot, it mostly served as a reminder. Belichick is ready to get back on the sidelines, and he's still the hottest free agent coach around. One team that keeps getting linked to Belichick is our Dallas Cowboys.
Why?
Well, Mike McCarthy's future is hanging by a thread. With his contract expiring after the season and the bitter taste of that playoff loss to the Packers still lingering, Jerry Jones might be eyeing a change. If Jerry decides to roll the dice and bring in Belichick, the benefits for this team could be massive. But who stands to gain the most? According to Fox NFL insider Jordan Schultz, the answer is clear: Micah Parsons. Let's take a second to talk about Micah Parsons. This dude is a wrecking ball, a game changer, and one of the most dynamic defenders in the NFL. But imagine pairing him with Belichick, the defensive genius who helped mold Lawrence Taylor into a legend with the New York Giants. Schultz says he could see Belichick telling Parsons, "You're my modern-day Lawrence Taylor. I'm going to build this team around you." Think about that for a second. Belichick, with all his defensive knowledge and experience, taking Parsons under his wing and turning him into the centerpiece of a dominant defense. We've seen flashes of what Parsons can do under Dan Quinn and now Mike Zimmer, but with Belichick, we might be talking about unlocking a whole new level. Belichick knows how to take a talented player and make him legendary. He doesn't just create great defenses, he crafts defenses with players who dominate for a decade. Parsons has all the tools to be that kind of player, and with Belichick's mentorship, the sky's the limit. There's another piece to this puzzle. DeMarcus Lawrence, a respected veteran and a cornerstone of the Cowboys' defense, has been the voice of this unit for years. But with Lawrence's contract expiring after the season, we might be witnessing a changing of the guard. If Lawrence moves on, the defense will need a new leader, someone who can rally the troops and set the tone. Parsons is the obvious choice. He's passionate, driven, and vocal. And who better to help him step into that leadership role than Bill Belichick? Belichick knows how to mold not just players, but leaders. He could help Parsons channel his energy and talent into a more focused, disciplined approach. Instead of just being a disruptive force on the field, Parsons could become the defensive captain that this team needs. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Parsons has been one of the few bright spots in this up-and-down season. Even when he was sidelined with a high ankle sprain, his optimism never wavered. And recently, Parsons has made it clear that he supports Mike McCarthy and believes he deserves another shot. "I think I would like a fair shot with everyone back, players, coaches, because the injuries kind of struck what this season could really be." He's right. The Cowboys' season has been plagued by injuries to key players like Zach Martin and DeMarcus Lawrence. It's tough to judge McCarthy fairly when the team has been so banged up. Parsons believes McCarthy has done a good job managing the chaos and wants to see what this team can do when healthy. But, and this is a big but, Parsons also acknowledged that the decision isn't his to make. It's up to Jerry Jones, and Jerry has his own way of doing things. Jerry Jones is the ultimate decision-maker in Dallas. He's loyal, he's bold, and he loves making headlines. If the Cowboys finish strong, maybe he gives McCarthy another year, especially if Parsons and other players are advocating for him. But if the season flames out, Jerry might not hesitate to shake things up. And let's be real, the idea of pairing Bill Belichick with Micah Parsons might be too enticing to pass up. Belichick would bring instant credibility, a proven winning formula, and the ability to elevate Parsons into a defensive icon. It's a gamble, but when has Jerry Jones ever shied away from a gamble? 1. Double the trouble, the Chase Higgins combo. Cowboys fans, we've faced some elite wide receivers this season, but let's be real. Nothing quite like the dynamic duo of Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins. These two are absolute monsters in the passing game, and they're both in the top 5 for receiving yards per game. Here's what you need to know. Ja'Marr Chase has racked up 6 touchdowns in his last 3 games. T. Higgins, he's got a touchdown in each of his last 3 games. And feeding them the ball is Joe Burrow, who leads the league with 3,337 passing yards this season. It's going to be a huge test for our secondary. The good news: we might finally see Trayvon Diggs and Darren Bland on the field together for the first time since Week 2 of last year. Diggs has been battling a groin and knee injury, and while we lost Josh Butler for the season, we're getting Amani Oruwariye back. The challenge is clear: keep Chase and Higgins in check or risk getting burned deep. 2. Chase Brown in space, a new threat on the ground. Last week, we talked about shutting down rookie running back Tyrone Tracy Jr., and the Cowboys did a solid job. But this week, the challenge is named Chase Brown. This second-year back has been on fire since taking over for the injured Zach Moss. Brown isn't a grinder who chips away for small yards. He's a big play machine. Check this out. Brown has a run of 20-plus yards in 6 of his last 9 games. He broke off a 40-yard run against the Steelers just last week. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' run game has only managed a single 20-plus yard run all season, thanks to Rico Dowdle on Thanksgiving. If the defense doesn't wrap up and stay disciplined, Brown could turn a routine play into a highlight reel moment. We need to keep this guy bottled up. 3. Can the Cowboys' run game survive the Bengals' defense? Speaking of the run game, there's been a glimmer of hope lately. Rico Dowdle has put up 2 straight games with 80-plus yards, including a career-best 112 yards against the Giants on Thanksgiving. But here's the catch: the Bengals' defense is no joke when it comes to stopping the run. They hit ball carriers behind the line of scrimmage on 49.3% of designed runs between the tackles. That's the 3rd best rate in the NFL. This means our offensive line, featuring Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and Brock Hoffman, will have their hands full. If they can't open lanes, we could be looking at a lot of short gains or even negative plays. If we want to control the clock and keep Burrow off the field, the run game has to deliver. 4. Keep the pressure off Cooper Rush. We all know the running game is crucial, but if it stalls, the pressure will fall squarely on Cooper Rush. And let's be honest, he's going to need some help from the offensive line.
Why?
Because the Bengals' defense features one of the most underrated edge rushers in the league, Trey Hendrickson. This dude is a problem. He leads the NFL with 11.5 sacks, 63 pressures, second most in the league. To put that in perspective, Hendrickson has more sacks than the rest of the Bengals' defense combined. If Tyler Guyton can't go because of his ankle injury, we might see Chuma Edoga step in at left tackle. Edoga's been decent, but he's going to face a major test against Hendrickson. If we can't protect Rush, it's going to be a long, frustrating night. 5. Can the offense keep up with Cincy? Here's the reality, folks. The Bengals have a top 5 scoring offense. They've put up 27-plus points in each of their last 4 games. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' defense ranks in the bottom 5 in points allowed. That doesn't bode well. But there's a silver lining. The Bengals' defense also ranks in the bottom 5 for points allowed. In fact, both teams are giving up an average of 28.3 points per game. Translation: this could turn into a shootout. Here's the problem: the Cowboys' offense hasn't exactly been lighting it up. Over the last 4 games, the offense has only scored 5 touchdowns. 3 of our touchdowns came from the defense and special teams. That's just 1.25 offensive touchdowns per game. Not great. If we want a shot at winning, we need an offensive game plan that's willing to take risks and go for big plays. Playing it safe isn't going to cut it against a high-powered Bengals team. All right, Cowboys fans, we've laid out the scenario. Now it's your turn to sound off. 1. Would you want Bill Belichick coaching the Cowboys next season? 2. Do you think Micah Parsons could become the next Lawrence Taylor under Belichick's guidance? 3. Or do you believe Mike McCarthy deserves another chance with a healthy roster? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is one of the most exciting debates in Cowboys land, and we want to hear from you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the latest Cowboys news, rumors, and analysis. Thanks for watching, Cowboys Nation. Stay loud, stay proud, and as always, go Cowboys!